coders, and welcome again to my channel. And today I'm going to walk you through the room database based on my previous video. So please watch the previous video where we created the views. I did notice that creating the views amounted to 40 minutes, which is a long video. I will try as much as I can to make this video shorter because I'm thinking, hey, sometimes you don't want to watch a 40-minute video, or tutorial. So what I'm going to do first of all is that I'm going to link the project on GitHub and share it on this final video because I only want to make 2 videos on room. So I made the first one where we created the views. The second one, I'm going to do the one where I create the database and add the adapters to connect to our views and display them using a recycler view. So what am I talking about? As you notice, our app currently just looks like that. Let me show you to the main activity. So the main activity is pretty empty. So this is where I'm going to hook my adapter and display the data that we will get from item 1, item 2, and item 3. We're using Room to store this data. So say for example, we start the app and go to the next class, which is add items activity. So what do we get from the add item activity? So we get item 1, item 2, and item 3. So for instance, I can see that I'm going to shop today. So I'm going to shop mangoes, bananas, and pears. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say mangoes, bananas, and pears and submit. When I submit, I have a recycler view which will be here created in another way to display my mango, banana, and pears. That was the idea, just a rough idea towards the database migration project, which I wanted to show some of my friends through using a YouTube video because we all live in different states and it's pretty far to meet together. But I've done this for a project and I'm doing this just as a way of helping other devs because I believe, hey, devs, we need to help each other. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to again go through the room component. I know if you want to, I don't want to talk too much, but fact is you can go to Google Documentations and just search room persistent library and you'll be able to read through ways and follow through to the tutorial. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use their 3 components, which is the entity, the DAO, and the database. So the entity represents the table within the database. So I'm going to show you our entity. So I went ahead and created the entity. So this is the entity. Good thing is that I'm going to share this code on GitHub in case you want to just fork it or clone it to just go through a simple process of how you can create the database. I have documented what the entity is, the primary key and column info, and also for more documentation, please get it from the most amazing source, which is just the Google Docs on Android development. So as you see, we are getting item 1, item 2, and item 3. We have a constructor which doesn't have an ID, which we ignore, and then we have one which has an ID which we do not ignore. As you can see, that's the difference between the 2 constructor, and then we have our getters and setters. So that is just the simple example of our entity. Don't forget to annotate because it is very important to annotate the table name. As I've said, an entity represents a table within the database. Now, what else are we going to look into? Let's go look into the interface DAO. So we're going to name our project specifically based on what we're doing because we're just getting items. That's how I do it. Like if I would show you my project on Budgeting Buddy, I name each and every class or interface the way it's supposed to be named, which is much easier. So the DAO here, which is right here, as you can see, my DAO, which I've annotated DAO. So DAO means data accessible object, and the data accessible object are responsible for defining the methods that access the data. So what do I mean by that? I know I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm just, if I say something actually which is incorrect, please correct me or look it up, because I know sometimes we see, because it's just in my mind, I'm trying to share something. So you can always reference. But the DAO means data accessible object, I know that. And this is where we create our query, insert, update, delete. So basically what happens is that if you've done this in SQLite, you will see the similarity, because we have to do the insert, query, update inside. I'm forgetting, because when was the last time I used SQLite? Okay, let me see. We'll have to do that inside our SQLite helper class. I believe so. So basically the DAO. So actually I do remember we used the cursor to access the object on the SQLite, but here it's pretty straightforward, where we've just said DAO, we've annotated it. It's very important to annotate. Don't forget to annotate. Those are the most important things in Room. And the reason is why I think this one is pretty straightforward and simple is because you don't write a lot of boilerplate code when trying to do these queries, because this one is straightforward. So something else that we need is the item database. So I've gone ahead and added the item database, where I've annotated the database, which gets the entity, which is the item class. Don't forget the entity right here at entity. So it gets the entity, which gets the version. This is where we include the versions. If we were to upgrade, we would say 2, but here's currently we have 1. And then currently our export schema is false. So the database contains the database holder and serves as the main access point for the underlying connection to your app's persisted and relational data. What does that mean? You know the way you would so when you play around with SQLite Open Helper, if let's say, okay, I need to mention we also have the ORM, but so far I can say that I've used Room for Android, SQLite, and Firebase. Those are the popular ones that I've used. If you've used another one, please let me know which one you've used. I might want to look into it, but so far, oh, and I know some companies have their own database, which is a very different topic altogether. But remember to always annotate the database, and don't forget we extend the Room database class here. I'm currently using Android X, so as you can see, and then again we have the SQLite database. Actually, the funny thing is that I've realized when I was writing this code, because I just read it now, when I created it, it did bring this one. The previous one didn't have this one, did not create the support SQLite Open Helper. So this is pretty new. So this is very unique. So in case you're watching this video and you did not watch the previous one where we created the views, I'm going to show you the Gradle so that nobody gets lost to what we have on our Gradle. So on our Gradle we have the Room runtime here and the version, the processor here, and then the testing. We also have the lifecycle extension. We have Jake Watton for button knife, and then we have the recycler view. So these are just the extensions as you see there, which are just 210. So don't forget to add the extension if you try to go with my route. So I've talked about the item database. So I've talked about the item DAO. I've talked about the item, which is the 3 main important things that make Room like the household name, you know, the 3 major components. So how Room operates is that we can add something called the executor, and we can also add something called the view model. So what is an executor? So you might be wondering what is an executor and what is the usage of the executor, for example, on Room. Okay, the only layman way of explanation or of explaining that I can think of is if you've written old Java, or if you've tried to work with old Java during back in the days, or even make Android projects back in the days, you know that whenever we wanted to create a thread, we'll use the new thread and then we would say new runnable dot start. So one of the things that the executor helps us with, it helps us on the main thread to ensure that the work is done on a separate thread, such that, I mean, okay, I can say out of the box, I mean, Room doesn't support database access on the main thread. So the executor, therefore, is to ensure that the work done, it's on a separate thread. I'm hoping that's the right way to explain that, because I don't want to make it so complex, but please make sure you can also check it up. And so basically we're trying to ensure that we don't lock the screen or don't lock the main thread, which is not good, because if you lock it, then you'll keep getting the application not responding errors or even other errors, which is not good. So the executor is pretty good. So I've gone ahead and added my executor here, where we have Room executes all queries on a separate threads. Observed live data will notify the observer when the data has changed, which is amazing because we need to do that. And then the item executor here gets the item database again, which is right here, item database. Let me show you something. Let's rename this to Room DB, so that actually I'm going to rename this to Room Refactor Room. That's gonna help because we will know that's the DB room. So the item database, and then we'll get the database and then application. So that is, and then don't forget, it's important to use the async task. Oh, one of the things that I struggled with, this is just a secret, one of the things that I struggled with were async tasks. Whoosh! I don't know if you struggled with them, but please let me know if you did like I did. Okay. The other thing that I added is the Android view model. So as you know, this one you have to get the lifecycle and then Android view model. So it helps also with which actually helps on rotation. So the view model stores any UI related data that isn't destroyed on app rotation, because we do know very well that rotation affects our app, like on rotate, this data is not saved, or if anything happens, which is something that I've realized I had a problem with before on my app. But I'm also at Android app. Developing for Android is always learning, like every other day. So you have to keep up. So one of the things that I will jump into now, because I've talked about the executor. So again, I've said I'm going to share the code on the entire project. So we are going to code a little bit, which is called the functions, because we've already created our database things that we needed, which is first the item, second the item database, we needed the DAO, like I said, we needed helpers, which are executors, and item view model. So I can actually move this one in here so that we make sure that it's inside the database, because those are together. So the entity, the DAO, and the database, don't forget. So we can actually include, so actually, I'm seeing a lot of actuallys. So I'm going to do a refactor and call this entities. That really helps. And then we can actually include it inside move package to another package. Refactor. So we're trying to move, so room. So that makes a lot of sense. So item DAO, database. So that's amazing. So you know that room consists of those three: the item DAO, and item database, which, as you've seen very well there. So what else is this here? So these are helpers of the database right here. So either we can actually include this one too there, because they're helpers. And then what we're gonna do, I can refactor and say, I'm gonna say room db helpers. That's not bad. It's self-explanatory, such that whenever you're there, you will know what's happening and inside that. So when you click on that, you will be able to access that. So what we need to go ahead and create now is the adapters. So like I said, the adapters are going to hook the screen, the main screen. They're going to get the items and display those items on main activity. So let's go ahead and create our adapter. So we're gonna call, so if you notice, one thing that I've done is I've named everything item, which is pretty easier to identify. So I'm just gonna say item adapter, because it's just one. So it's not gonna be adapters because it's just an adapter. Item executor, close. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna say extends the recycler view, because it's going to be a recycler view dot adapter, and inside here I'm going to get the item adapter dot item view holder. We need the view holder to hold the views. So item adapter, so oops, well, we got that there. Let's try to implement the methods, and then we need to create a class of the item view holder. So we have the class there, and then again, don't forget, so I find that pretty easier because I mean, it's just making everything for me. There, voila. I know I feel like I'm being lazy, but hey, if it's doing all these things for me, why not use it? Because I might keep coding and then I find that there's an error. So I'm going to say private list of items, our item entity class, item list. So don't forget to, so what I do here is Alt Enter. Remember to get the right one. Don't get any which is not right. Alt Enter. And then I'm gonna go and start playing around with my, let me see. So I'm gonna go ahead and create the view here. Here now the view, where we say view and go get the view, the layout inflator, and then I'm gonna say dot from. So it tells me I need to have a context. So I'm gonna say it's a parent dot get context, and then I'm gonna do dot inflate because we have to inflate. R dot layout, we need to go create that layout dot, oh, we don't have it, so I'm gonna just call it display item and go create it, parent. And then something else that I want to say, if you ever get stuck while coding and you're like, you don't know what to put, I'm just trying to explain how I do it. You know, you might be wondering like, hey, how does somebody remember what to input here at this particular time? So Android, this pretty smart IDE reminds us where we should be inserting stuff. So like, if you notice when I was typing, let me show you. So dot inflate. So when I say it inflate and say it's telling me right here. So, oops, oh, come on. Please behave. I need to show. So what I'm trying to explain though is, oh, it's not coming. But if you noticed before, there was that, okay, yeah, there you go. It came out. So there we go. So as you can see, it's recommending that, hey, you need here. So I know the one that I'm going to use is this one right here, which has a layout and then a resource, which is a layout resource, which is not there already. And then it has it takes a parent and then a boolean, which for now is false, and then I'm gonna close that. So I don't know why it's not displaying as I wanted, but I hope you get the point. So I'm gonna return a new item view holder view. There you go. As you can see, another view, so you know what you have to return. So that's what I mean. So I'm gonna go ahead and create this one. Create a resource layout. So it's a linear layout. Do we need a linear layout or a constraint layout? Wait, I should have recommended. Oh, let me make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Create. No, it's not a field. So it is. Oh wait, what did we do? Cannot resolve that symbol. So create field. Oh, it's not giving me options of creating fields. Anyways, we can just come here and just say layer resource file and call this display item. But I'm surprised that we are not getting constraint layout anymore. What's happening? Because looks to me that's gonna be a linear layout. Yeah, that's a linear layout. Why is it a linear layout? I normally get constraint layout because I hope those ones I made them on constraint. I think I remember we did on constraint layout. Right, yeah, that's a constraint layout. And the activity main also has a constraint layout. So I'm surprised that this one here gave me a recommendation of a vertical. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna do something random here, so it's just gonna be pretty quick. So I'm gonna do it right now. So what I've just done a very quick thing, just created very randomly some views which will be hooked on the main activity class with a recycler view. So that's ready. I think we can go on and continue coding. If it brings a problem, we'll try to fix it later. So for right now, let's just stick to what we have. So we need to come here and bind the views. So again, we have to use the holder in case. So the holders help us to bind the views. So display dot, let me see. So I'm gonna say display item 1. So the thing is that I have not created this. I need to come and get those views here. So let me just comment this out and try to come and access this here first, and then from there it's going to be easier. So we're going to say at bind view. What are we binding? r.id display item 1 text view. Text view display item 1. Again, add bind view r.id display item 2. It's much easier. See, I don't have to keep referencing back to see what I said. Display item 2. So there we go. We can make this private, but first let's finish and then we can try to clean our code later. So we need to include the button knife here. Button knife dot bind. Don't ever forget to bind this, and then now the item view. That's how, and then it's gonna work. And then now, gladly, as you can see, our error has disappeared. So we are getting and setting the text. Set the text. So don't forget the item list dot, don't forget to get the position, and then don't forget your getters and setters dot get item one. Oops, not the ID but item one. So what are we doing here? We're trying to display that on these views right here. We're trying to display what we'll get. I mean, let me just say bind. So the position and get the item name. Okay, so I'm gonna do that for the rest. Again, it's the item list. Get position dot get item. Don't forget, much easier. That's a capital. Dot set text. The position dot get 3. And then let's not forget the count. To get the count, first of all, I want to check if item list is not equals to null. Return item list dot size, and then I think I need to remove that one and say right here, oh, return 0, but something is wrong here. Let me just remove that brace. I don't need it anyway. So if my item list is not equals to null, return the item list dot size, or else I forgot my else statement, or else return 0. Great. Okay, so let me see what else do I need to notify. Where is that method? So I need to notify when the data changes. I think that's very important. Okay, so I'm gonna say public void set item list, the list of item, item list. Okay, item list will be equals to my item list, and then please notify when the data changes. So I think this one is similar, so I'm going to use item list. Let me name this one M item list, and come here so that we can see the difference. I think it's important to see the difference. And the best thing to actually, the best thing to do this is by refactoring this one. So it is that actually I change all that, while I can just change this one right here to be to be M, sort of refactoring all that, and hence say here b equals to M item list. There you go. Boom shakalaka. So far so good. We have our adapter hooked. So now we need to go to our main activity and add activity and work on this too. So basically what we need here is we need to be able to start the app. So we're going to use the extras, when the way we send data from another class to another class. So let me go ahead and show you, try to demo that. So public static final, it's a final, enter. So we're going to do the request code. That's going to be 1. And I need to bind view at bind view r dot our main recycler. Remember our recycler that we created from the first video. So You can watch that one and you'll see how we created that one there. Main recycler. And then we have our bind view, and we are binding the float button now, the fab. And then again, it's a floating action button. And then thank you for suggesting that, smart IntelliJ. Private item. We need to get the item view model, not the item adapter, sorry. Again, remember, we are working with our main. So like I said, this one right here is going to help us with the main. Item view model. So we'll come here and start using this. So first of all, the most important thing is to always do the button knife dot bind the view, which is this. Don't forget that, because if you forget that one, the views will not work. You'll get some funny errors. And then I have the item adapter. Item adapter needs an A. Should be equals to new adapter, because that's where we will be displaying our adapter on the main activity. Item adapter. Main recycler dot set adapter. We're setting the adapter to the what? To the item adapter. Don't forget linear layout manager equals to new linear layout manager, this. And then main recycler dot set layout manager. We need the layout manager as the linear layout manager. Linear. I know linear has to do with mathematics, but today we're talking of linear. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the item view model. Will be equals to the view model. This one we have to get it from Android. So the provider, the Android X lifecycle. So dot off. Oh, providers. Yeah, that is it. Dot off. Okay. So it is. So it's the activity. Oh, this is what I was talking about. So as you can see them here, see, it's giving me a suggestion. So I know what I need next there. It needs a factory. So what factory? Actually, I think I need to say it needs a factory. Get the class, which is the item view holder dot the class. There we go. And then item view model dot get list of live data. And then we're going to observe this item adapter. Oh, I like this one. And then I'm going to set the items. Set the item list. Yeah, right there. That's the one. I don't know why I put it. Wait, are we done there? Yes. Think we're good. So what I did right there is get the item view model. Let me show you the one we created. Item view model. So what did the item view model contain? It contained the Android view model. So you can go and dig deep into the Android view model and see what it does, because when we swipe it, when we swipe our data, we can delete our data, and then we'll see what happens. That's by deleting. When item touch helper, new item, it's a callback. Please bring back, thank you. So it's give me on move, get move flags, on swiped. So I can close that. So I'm gonna add some methods here. So I'm actually gonna work on the on move. On swiped, what am I gonna do on swiped? So let me see first if it tries to, okay. So the new callback, I wanna make sure it's the right one. Actually, I think I got the wrong one. I have to make sure. So it's supposed to be here, the simple callbacks. Let me undo that. Sorry. New. Okay, so it has to be the new item. Help us, simple callback. Let's try that one. Yeah. So it gives me the move and the swiped. So that's okay. Yeah. So I need to know like how many ways can we move. So we can move left and right. So item helper dot left, item helper dot right, there we go. But right now here I'm not going to add any code, no code today. Okay, so I can do that later, but first of all, let's continue on getting the floating button to work. So the floating button dot set on click listener, the view. I'm gonna use some lambda. Oh, come on. I thought you suggested some lambdas for me. Yeah. Oh, wait. I need the first one. There we go. So I'm gonna get the intent, which will be equals to new intent main activity dot class. And then we do the add item activity dot class. I forgot that. And then we will start activity intent, and don't forget the request code. It's frozen. There we go, request code. So when I add that, of course I need to go not surround, but rather add the activity on. Oh wait, this is not start activity. I need to do the start activity for results. That's what I need. Start activity for results. There you go, which gets a request code. There, we've solved that. So that's how you remember that one. And then I need to get the request code. So public void. Actually, I think I can just override that. Let me see. Code. Not override. Okay, yeah. On. No, I can't override that. Because you don't override that. Yeah. Result. So it takes a request code. Into the result. And then it takes the intent data, the intended data to be accepted, you know. And then from there, now I can add a super. Thank you. That was easy. Thank you for doing that for me. So I'm gonna write if my request code is equals to request code and result code is equals to, I'm going to there we go, result. Okay, so item will be equals to new item data dot get string extra. I'm getting the extra string from the add activity dot class. No, dot extra, it has to come extra data, but here it's going to be an extra reply. Let me see, just say extra reply, and I'm going to go create that extra underscore reply. Oh, not replay it, reply. Thank you. And then I'll say now our data dot get string. So some dot get string dot get string extra. Actually, let me just, did I just do that there? Let me just use this one here, but I'm gonna call this one reply to, and then copy pasting is not good just because I'm doing it. And then I'm gonna say item view model dot, what am I doing here? I'm inserting the items. Thank you. That is straightforward. So these I have not created yet. I need to go create them on my add activity class, to which we'll go create together. Else create a toast dot make text get application content. I paused my video, my recording to do was I paused it so that I can add this code. One of the things that I don't want to do is have a video more than 1 hour. That is too long. So the farthest I can go is almost to 50 minutes. I'm hoping. So being done with this, let me see if our project will run and compile. As I added the last chord, let's wait here. As it runs, as we wait, you can listen to some music. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but let's try to see. Let's go grab it. There you go. Whoop. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, let's see. Wait, I'm still wondering why it didn't run. So here we go. So we're gonna enter item 1 mangoes. Item 2 we're gonna say banana. And item 3 we're gonna say pears. And then we're gonna submit. and we're gonna get that. So I tried to test that with my code here, and it looks like it works correctly. I see my video is already 46 minutes long. I'm so sorry about that. I just don't know how to do short videos. I think I talk too much. I'm gonna keep trying not to talk too much. So fun fact is I'm gonna post this entire tutorial on GitHub. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'll push the code right away once I'm done here so that you can get the project. And again, I did this project on a different group, and I decided to do just the same example because it's very similar. So I hope you learned something from this. So when we come back on the next video, we'll do the SQLite again with 3 items, and then from that we'll try to do the migrating from SQLite now to room database, having the thought that we've already seen how to do room back on this video, and then we'll do the SQLite, and then we'll do now a final video where we'll just migrate and talk through migration. So that's the point of the entire video. Again, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe and share if you like. Thank you very much.